What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Pacific Steel. Today, we're diving deep into a story that has currently sent shockwaves through the world of naval warfare. This is a topic I've been incredibly excited to share with you. For decades, the global arms market has been dominated by a few major players. When you think of the most influential anti-ship missiles in the Western world, the first name that comes to mind is almost certainly the RGM-84 Harpoon from the United States. It's ruled the seas for generations. But today, those rules are being rewritten. A country that was once just a customer and a user, Turkey, has stepped up and declared they will no longer rely on anyone else's technology. This is the birth of a massive national project that has completely reshaped their defense industry, the anti-ship cruise missile known as the Atmaca, which means Falcon in Turkish. The story of the Atmaca didn't just start because they wanted to show off some new tech. It was born out of pure necessity and the pressure of international restrictions. Turkey has a powerful navy and a complex geostrategic position to defend, from the Black Sea to the East Mediterranean. They relied on the Harpoon as their primary fangs for years, but the downside of using weapons bought from a superpower is that you don't truly own them. Upgrades, maintenance, or even deploying them in certain conflicts often comes with heavy political strings attached. The Turkish government decided they had enough. They tasked their leading defense tech company, Roketsan, to spearhead the development of the country's first radar-guided anti-ship missile. Their goal was clear and uncompromising. It had to be good enough to kick the Harpoon out of the Turkish Navy's arsenal for good. Now, when we look at the specs and the technology behind this Sea Falcon, it's clear that Roketsan did their homework. The Atmaca is designed as a high-precision, long-range anti-ship cruise missile with an operational range of over 220 kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's significantly further than many standard Harpoon variants currently in service around the world. Its airframe is built with modern aerodynamics and a reduced radar cross-section to make it a nightmare for enemy sensors to pick up. But its true lethality lies in its flight profile. The Atmaca features super sea skimming capabilities. Once launched, it drops to an incredibly low altitude, flying just feet above the waves, so low that it practically grazes the crests of the ocean. This allows the missile to hide beneath the enemy's radar horizon and blend into the sea clutter. By the time a ship's air defense system finally detects it, the missile is already at point-blank range, leaving the target with only a few heartbeats to react. To ensure pinpoint accuracy, Turkey brought in their national electronics giant Aselsan to develop a dedicated seeker for this missile. The Atmaca uses a sophisticated hybrid navigation system. During the mid-course phase, it utilizes an inertial navigation system combined with GPS to track its coordinates, while a radar altimeter keeps it locked at that ultra-low sea skimming altitude. As it enters the terminal phase, it activates its active radar seeker to find and lock onto the target autonomously. On top of that, it features a robust data link system. This means a commander back on the ship can update the target's position in real time, switch targets mid-flight, or even abort the missile by ordering it to self-destruct. This level of tactical flexibility is exactly what modern navies are screaming for. But the journey of the Atmaca wasn't all smooth sailing. There's a high-stakes drama hidden in its development that became a turning point for Turkey's defense industry. In the early stages, they were still relying on turbojet engines from France, specifically the micro-turbo TR-40. The problem hit when the international political climate shifted. France and other Western nations began imposing soft sanctions and export restrictions on Turkey, making it nearly impossible to secure a steady supply of engines. Instead of backing down, Turkey used this pressure as fuel. The government ordered the company Kale Arge to fast-track a domestic engine. The result was a massive success, the KTJ-3200 turbojet, a 100% Turkish-made engine. This move didn't just solve a supply chain issue, it completely decoupled the missile from Western export regulations. Now, Turkey has total freedom to produce and export this weapon to anyone they want without having to ask for anyone's permission.
Once the weapon was unlocked from political constraints, global success followed. The list of Atmaca customers is perhaps the strongest proof of its quality. The biggest shockwave in Southeast Asia came when Indonesia signed a historic deal to acquire the Atmaca. In the first batch alone, Indonesia ordered 45 units to be installed on various vessel classes, from their new Arrowhead 140 frigates to their Fatahillah and Parchin-class corvettes. Why did Indonesia ditch the established Harpoon and Exocet for Turkey? It comes down to flexibility. Turkey is willing to share technology and support Indonesia's local industry in ways Western powers rarely do. This was a brilliant strategic move for both nations. Beyond Indonesia, Pakistan is next in line. Since Pakistan is already co-building the Babur-class Miljam corvettes with Turkey, choosing the Atmaca as the primary punch for these ships is a no-brainer. We're also seeing strong interest from Azerbaijan, a close ally looking to bolster its presence in the Caspian Sea. Even Malaysia is keeping a very close eye on the Atmaca for its new littoral mission ships, LMS. Why? Because it offers a Tier 1 spec at a competitive price, with the guarantee that when you buy it, you actually get it. No waiting for US congressional approval or European government sign-offs. This solves a massive pain point for developing nations, and Turkey is hitting that mark perfectly. To give you a better idea of how the Atmaca stacks up against the old guard, I've put together a comparison table of the specs and the estimated ROM, rough order of magnitude pricing, based on historical data. Let's take a look. Looking at this comparison, the results are striking. When it comes to range, the Turkish Atmaca is the clear winner, offering over 220 kilometers of reach, nearly double that of the Harpoon Block II and outperforming the French Exocet as well. In terms of destructive power, its 220-kilogram warhead is right on par with the legendary Harpoon, and its speed remains competitive in the high-subsonic category. But the real mic drop is the pricing. When we look at the estimated ROM costs, the Atmaca is incredibly aggressive. At roughly $1.5 to $2 million per unit, it provides top-tier performance at a fraction of the cost of its rivals. While the Harpoon might seem close in base price, once you factor in upgrade packages and political conditions, that price can skyrocket to $3 million. As for the European Exocet, it's in a different league entirely, often exceeding $3.5 million. This is exactly why developing nations are flocking to Turkey. You get world-class specs at a price that actually makes sense, without the diplomatic headaches. Ultimately, the story of the Atmaca isn't just about a new piece of hardware, it's a powerful case study in national sovereignty. It shows us that when a nation decides to invest in its own research and stand on its own 2 feet, it can create technology that challenges the established giants. Developing their own jet engine to break the cycle of sanctions is proof that necessity is the mother of invention. The Atmaca isn't just a Harpoon replacement, it's a symbol of Turkey's technological independence, and it's ready to take its place on the global stage. What do you guys think? Do you believe Turkish weapons are going to take over the market from Western powers in the coming years? Or is there another player you want me to cover next? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Pacific Steel so you don't miss our next update on the world's most lethal tech. Until next time, I'm Mick, and I'll see you in the next one.